This is a conversation with Shirt Quant. It is June 25th. I've got this in alphabetical order. Do you know anything about Billy Dibble on Snow Mountain?
Was he up there with Endicott when had the mill?
Same time frame.
Yeah, I know. We filled timber for Endicott in Silver Creek there when he put the mill in there. There was Endicott, and what would the other fellow's name? He was a logger for...
Ammons. Virgil Ammons?
Ammon, that's it, yeah.
I've spoken with Virgil, and by the time he had gotten up there in that country, the Billy Dibble mill was gone.
Yeah.
And he could just find a sawdust pile.
Well, we moved up there. Bud Sherman was up in Fall Timber then. He was just a young squirt. And my brother and I and Bud went up there and camped for, I think, about 10 days and fell about 500,000 feet of timber for them to get their mill started on. We camped there at what they call Squaw Springs, head of Silver Creek.
Mm-hmm. What year would that have been?
About 40, I think about 48. In the latter part of the 40s.
Do you know how long they were in operation?
No, my older brother kept books for them up there too for a long time. Joe, they was in there probably 4 or 5 years, I would say.
How big an operation was it?
Oh, they just had a circle mill. I don't think it was there too long. It wasn't too big. I don't know what they cut because like I say, we went up there and cut about a week, 10 days. We camped up there, took an old Chevy pickup and went up there and camped and cut, had a Silver Creek, cut enough timber for them, doing about, get a start on a couple of weeks cut. We cut about 300,000 or 400,000 in there.
Was this private timber?
All private, yeah.
This was a circle saw, upper and lower?
Yeah, right. Well, now I never fooled around the mill, so I don't know much about the mill, but I think that's what it was, that's all they had them days, out in the woods,
How did you get the timber to the mill?
Oh, they logged it themselves. I don't know how they logged it. I really don't. Didn't pay much. In fact, they hadn't started logging yet when we had the timber down moved out. We had just run
You
through.
just cut it?
We cut it, moved out, yeah.
I wanted to ask you, and I don't know if I want to say this right. In one of your earlier interviews, you said something about holding the record for the most...
The thing about that, told my daughter about that. But we were working out here and turning the ridge out here for Yawkeys. Brother and I was working with a crosscut, and we averaged 48,000 a day for a 2-week period. We got just a few feet of being 1,000,000 feet 1 month for a crosscut. And they had to post it on the board up there at Yawkeys.
48,000
a day for 2 weeks straight. And then that month we put it just about 1,000,000 feet. They had to post it in the office up there at Yawkeys at that time.
Just the two of you?
Just two of us with a crosscut.
How many hours a day were you working?
I worked just regular. We'd go to work about 7, then we'd stop about 10, eat a bite to eat, and then stop again about 1, then put it a little after 3. Riding a crummy, and you had to go according to the hour at the crummy,
You must have worked your butt.
Oh, we did work. We never stopped. We never stopped. When we started in, we never stopped to eat a bite, we ate twice a day, so you would get tired out, We'd stop about 10, 10:30, eat a sandwich too, and then go back to work about 1, stop and eat a bit, and then worked usually about 3:15 because the crummy got to 3:30, So we worked hard.
Wow.
But either of us we could saw either handed, right or left handed with a crosscut, and I chopped right handed, and he chopped left handed, and he's huskier than I was. He weighed that time I weighed about 175, 80, he weighed about 185, 190. But we had really down solid then,
You must have had nothing but muscle.
We was in good shape, yeah.
Do you know anything about a birdsong sawmill?
No, I don't know much about these mills over here on the Prineville area. The one I knew about was the Blackwell mill over there on the other side of Grizzly.
Well, that was the next one on my list.
Yeah.
I don't know
Kenny
anything.
Blackwell, yeah.
What was his name?
Kenneth Blackwell, Kenny Blackwell, yeah. He's right on the other side of Grizzly there.
Will you be able to show me that on the map?
Yeah, sure,
Okay.
sure.
We'll do all that later.
Yeah.
What year was of operation?
Well, that was I moved over here from, Metro in 1938, and he was in operation then. So a lot of part of the 30s when he had his mill out there. I never fell timber for him. We fell out timber on Willow Creek there for Pine Products. We fell for Yawkey when they had the mill set out in the woods. You brought everything in String Inc. We had Allen Creek and Mackay Creek. They had mills set out there, and you'd follow them in String Inc. Top them, and have them and top them, and then they take them in the mill and buck them up.
This Blackwell mill, how long did that last?
He wasn't there too long. He was there a couple of years I remember about. Yeah.
Small operation?
Small operation, the Circle Mill, yeah.
Did he have a camp that men lived there?
No, I don't remember that either. I don't know where, yeah, I think he did. I think he had a camp down there going toward the old town of Grizzly. When you go down over the top of the mountain on the old road, and then you go down and hit the edge of timber. There's a big old house to your right there, a big 2 or 3 story house there, and I forget who that belonged to. I think there's a camp down in there.
And what year was this?
Oh, that was a lot of part of the 30s.
Okay, that's good enough. That takes care of that.
We worked all over the Plina country, Metro country. We fell for husbands the first year they come out up there, the cross country. We fell for them. And we fell for old Shoof Miller had a mill over out of Richmond. We fell for him. Then we fell for, I think his name meant it. Had a mill this side of Husband up there at Camp Watson. The barn house had it for a while, and then this guy, Boyd Erickson had the mill.
Yeah, that's down here.
Yeah.
Let me go down the list so I don't miss any.
Yeah.
This was way long time ago. CZ Mailing on Grizzly.
No, like I say, I'm not too familiar with this country until after 1938. I'm familiar around the Mitchell country. There's some more mills in Mitchell country I knew about, but
What about Claude Davidson sawmill?
didn't know him either.
Danton Russell.
Yeah, Danton Russell, they sold out to Brooks Industries,
When was that?
Well, we logged for Danton Russell over out of Sisters. About the time they sold out.
So they weren't located?
They did sell Danton Russell. They sold out to guy down to the sawmill in Sisters there.
There were several mills in Sisters.
Yeah. Well, the one we cut for was right in Sisters, and then they cut part of the log there, and then the bigger mill went into Bend.
Danton Russell never had a sawmill in Prineville?
No, not that I know of.
Good, I can eliminate one.
Yeah.
Well, let's see, I know all about the Spoo operations.
Yeah, Spoo. Willie Spoo, he had the mill up there on Mountain Creek.
Ferran in Paulina.
Yeah, Ferran and White had the mill there, the side where we felt timber for them too.
So this was a partnership?
Yeah, a guy named Ferran and yeah.
Do you know what his first name was?
No, I don't. The guy that partnered with him, White, he went in with us. We were going to buy a bunch of timber down on Lake Tahoe. We went down there and had a chance to make $1 million down there, and our partner took off the money, and that was it.
Now, one time when we were talking, you told me about 2 sawmills with the name of Brown. Preacher Brown and
Yeah, Preacher Brown and his 2 boys had a mill there at the mouth of Indian Creek on what's called the Raymond Ranch now. It's on Mountain Creek above the highway. I can show you on the map right where it's at.
Okay.
Now his mill was there in the 20s.
Yeah, I got that written down. Do you know what his name was?
No, I don't.
Was he a real preacher? Or?
Yeah, he was a minister. Yeah, Preacher Brown. His 2 boys run the mill.
What size operation was that?
Just a small.
Did
Yeah,
they just run it themselves?
Horse operated. Yeah, and then on the same creek, further up, Rube Wildmum had a mill.
Okay.
You got him out.
Yeah.
I told you about him. We logged for him with horses. Mac Nichols that had the ranch there. Mac and I logged into him. In the winter time, he used the sled and cross haul to put one end on the sled, and summertime one set of wheels. We logged at least a mile or better into the mill out of them.
What
Rube Rosenbaum, he had a
about
circle
this
mill.
Fred Brown?
Now, there was another Brown had a mill down on Mountain Creek. And I don't remember what his first name was. He had some boys in school there in Mitchell. I went to school with him in 1932 or 33. So he was in operation there in the early 30s, latter part of the 20s and early 30s.
Okay.
But I don't know what his first name was. Then old man Pappy Keaton had a mill on Keaton Creek, you know.
Yeah, I got him down here. Now,
Yeah.
Keaton Creek is in Mitchell, huh?
Yeah, the other side of Mitchell there. It runs into, where Willie Spool had his mill, was right at the mouth of Keaton Creek.
Okay. You had told me earlier that the Keaton Mill was in operation in the late 1880s, 1890s.
Right. He was, the old Pappy Keaton, the old guy I knew so well. I spent a wonderful summer with him cutting wood upon his stepson had a timber claim up on Mountain Creek. We cut wood there all summer and hauled it and sold the wood into Mitchell. And he was up in his 80s then, and he had the mill. I know he had the mill in the 1880s and the early 90s. I know he was there at that time. First mill I know in the country over there.
Huh. How big an operation?
Just a small circle mill, just for build them ranch and barns around there. There's all four. Didn't haul it out of the country, just around that country there. So.
There. Help me understand a timber claim. How did a person do that?
Well, they could file on a timber claim the same as you could just to. Well, my dad had a timber claim right up on the side of Lewis Rock, out of Mitchell there, about 6 or 7 miles. He had a timber claim up there. My dad, I got pictures of it. I got some pictures of it. I'll show you one of these days.
Okay.
The old cabin up there.
When you filed a timber claim, did you get the land too?
Yeah, oh yeah,
No,
you got everything, land and all. Yeah.
So it was kind of like getting a homestead.
Yeah, I got getting the homestead. Yeah.
Okay. Grisham's in Mitchell. I don't know
Well,
where I got that.
Grissom, well, he never did have a sawmill. His boy worked for me and fell timber with me. And old Charlie Grissom worked for me. He ran a loader for me, and he got killed logging down out of Reno up toward Lake Tahoe. Old Charlie Grissom did. And B. Grissom, he logged for me. He ran equipment for a long time. He worked for me for 25 years, I think.
Wow.
There's a boy here in town now that worked for me for 25 years. The towhead, Paul Smith, they call him. He's still alive.
Still here.
Still here. He worked for me 25 years in logging.
This next one, I have no idea where I got the name or where it may be located. Horton and Sayer, S-A-Y-E-R.
Don't know that one.
Joan, well, that's right up here. Kelly.
Oh, Kelly.
Is that Paul Kelly?
Paul Kelly. He used to, I'll tell you, one time he was road foreman for Ochocos here when they first started.
Oh.
And then he got a chance to buy all this timber from the Connolly brothers over there. They had about 6,500 acre timber, good timber. And he put a mill in over there. And after he left there, after he cut out the main, when he cut it, he just cut the big yellow pine and cut them up to the end and left the rest of them laying. So then, Mid-State Lumber Company put a mill in there. That was Walt Nystrom and his brother-in-law, Daggett, that was his daddy-in-law, and Jeff, what was the guy's name? It's him and Walt Nystrom, his brother-in-law. They married sisters.
And they put this Mid-State Mill in Mitchell?
They put that one out in West Branch, and then they put one up at Plina. They put one over out of Spray too, I think. They had milled, and they put one over in Pine Creek over out of Fossil, down there by Clarno too. They put a mill in over there. They had mills everywhere.
Wow.
Walt. I'll tell you what happened. They had up here where Yawkey had where the big mill is up to the Yawkey had a mill right up here when they moved in town. And then they put a mill in right across from it. They put a planer mill in, what they put in. And they used to send their money, they had put in some kiln over there, and they used to send Yawkey said didn't have enough kiln to dry the lumber, so you send them over and have Mid-State dry the lumber and then they send back. So they kind of worked in cahoots that way. Because Daggett, he was running Yawkey, and he was the daddy-in-law of Walt Listrom. High Mercer was the other guy. No, he was the other guy. He was the brother-in-law. He was son-in-law of old Daggett. Yeah.
What were the years of operation of the Paul Kelly sawmill?
In the 30s, because Paul Kelly. Yeah, it was in the 30s. I'd say the mid-30s. Because after he moved out, then that's when Midstate moved in and put a mill in there.
Was
Took
he
the
in
smaller
operation
timber.
Maybe 5 years?
Well, I think he was, yeah. Like I say, Paul Kelly, like I say, he was a road foreman for Ochocos. And then he went over and put in that mill and cut the rest of the pine out. And then he went into California, and him and old Evans, brother-in-law husband, they made a fortune down there. They bought a big block of timber weighing hundreds of millions of feet, way back in the mountain somewhere, and had to build. They spent, I don't know how much money building the road in there. They had time getting the road built. When they got it built in, they made a fortune out of it.
When you said that road, now I've heard something about that. Don't remember.
Had all the time getting out enough money to build that road in.
Yeah. And there was some legal business involved.
Yeah, and then when they got through it and hauled the road timber out, then they anybody else had timber back there, they got paid for them hauling over the road.
Silver Larson had a sawmill.
Yeah, Silver Larson. I kind of would have been away, not on the mill though. His mill was up here on above Post.
Between Post and Paulina?
Yeah, off the left of where Triangle father had a mill and put a mill in there. I think they bought Silver Larson out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that before.
Yeah.
The information that I've got, and I don't know where I got this either, was that he was in partnership with somebody named Bardot.
Didn't know him.
Okay. Who was Matt Muslin, you know?
Yeah, sure, we got him up here, Bud Shrum and I. We put in his mill out here that Crown got right now.
Really?
We bought optioned up a lot of timber, and we went down to Albany. The people named Woodtech down there, corporation wanted to put a mill in, so we talked them into putting the mill in. They put the mill in to got started, and then Matt Muslin bought him out. Now, he was from out of Portland. He had a stud mill down there, him and his brother.
What year was this?
That was in the 50s. God, I can't remember all them dates. I can't remember now.
What was it called when you first started it?
When they first started called Woodtech.
Here in front?
And then, and then they called it, when Matt bought it, he didn't run it very long, and then he sold out to LP, Louisiana Pacific.
And then Craig Wordwood bought it from LP. And
No, Craig had it before that, and he sold it to LP. He made a fortune out of it. Craig started logging for LP. No, I guess you're right. LP was in there, and then Craig went to logging for him. So then they sold it to Craig. Somebody, he bought a bunch of money from Clear Pine up here to pay down on $1 million. And Craig ran it for 3 or 4 years, made a heck of a pile of money out of it, and he sold it. He paid $2.9 million for it and sold it for $4.9 million. He made $4 million out of it. He told me he made $200,000 a month all the time he had it. He made a lot of money out of it.
good businessman.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, that takes care of Matt Muslin. I had never heard of that before.
Yeah. There's two of the boys.
What?
There were two of the Muslins.
Were they both running the mill?
Well, one of them had the stud mill down out of Portland. Down around, not what state, it was out southwest out of Portland, the stud mill was. Had a good stud mill down there, and they come up and put this mill in.
Has Prineville ever had more than one stud mill? I've only heard of one.
Other than what Ochocos got here now, you know. That's the one I know of. God, yeah, I've been here a long time. There wasn't many mills when I come over here, you know.
I have no idea what this means. Morgan on the Louis Aggie.
Oh, Irig. Yeah, he put a good portable mill over there. Didn't last very long.
Didn't amount to much.
Didn't
When would
amount
that have been?
That was in the early 40s.
Early 40s?
Just after Kelly moved out.
Were you living in Primal when Myra Keswick had her molding plant?
Who?
Myra Keswick.
Don't recall the name.
Okay. Well, we're making progress here. Porter Brothers.
Don't know them either.
Porter and Miller.
Don't
Potter
know,
and Miller.
don't know them either. The other mill around probably I didn't know anything about before the 30s, you know. Metro country I do a lot about, all the mills were in that country.
Now, you mentioned Shuford Miller, didn't you? In Richmond?
Yeah, right.
When would that have been?
We fell for him. He was in the 30s, latter part of the 30s.
What kind of an operation did he have?
He had just a circle mill. He was there in the early 30s. He was there in the early, Shuf Miller. Yeah, he was in the early 30s. Above Richmond there, had a mill.
How long did he last, do you remember?
Well, he was there several years. Yeah.
How many men did he have?
Well, I imagine he probably had 15 or 20 men, probably altogether.
Wow.
I imagine.
Pretty
Pretty good little operation.
Did he have a lumber camp there? They stayed.
Yeah, he had a lumber camp and everything right there. In fact, Jack Roden owns the land he had his camp on, there off of Waterman Flat going over toward Richmond, where he had his mill. And he had his mill at first, he had on the breaks of Waterman there, and then he moved over in the breaks of Richmond. He just followed timber over there, you know, instead of logging as far.
Uh-huh. Did he do his own timber, or timber falling?
Well, I did. We felt timber for him for a while. I don't remember who doing the logging at that time. Most of them all done the horses them days, you know.
Yeah. What did they do with the lumber? Did they bring it clear?
They hauled, well, the first mill around over there used to bring it in to sell it to Pine Products here, and after Pine Products started here in the 30s.
Wow, that's a long haul.
Yeah.
Did they bring it on wagons?
No, they brought on trucks. Yeah.
You may remember in the Bend Bulletin, there was a big full-page article about the timber project.
Yeah.
And it said something about a 9-horsepower truck.
Yeah.
I was so embarrassed by
The
that.
first truck that I know was solid rubber tires, you know.
Yeah. Let's see, who was telling me this? Oh, Ham Jackson had
Yeah.
told me the story. It was
Yeah.
a 90-horsepower
Yeah.
truck. I caught some hell for that. Let's see.
Yeah, Craig was logging for LP, and then they turned around and sold him the mill. Sold it to him at a real reasonable price, and he run it for a couple of years, and then he sold it and made a lot of money out of it. Craig did. He got a good start out of it. That's where he got, you know. Then he bought a lot of timberland. Him and a guy from Stuckert from down out of Mill City. They got about 70,000 acres on the north side of the mountain over here. They own Opal Mountain and Stevenson Mountain. And then they own a lot of stuff over here where they go across the Mitchell on both sides of the highway, Corrupt and Antone. They got about 70,000 acre timberland there.
He's just kind of sitting on it, isn't he? Waiting for things to...
The only thing he's been taking out, he's been taking the pulp out and the little stuff for he got a pulp plant out here, you know. That's what he's been doing with it.
He's shrewd.
But now,
Have to admire him.
Now, sometime in July, they're going to shut them off a pulp effect for don't know how long, until the first year, maybe for good. You know, pulp market's terrible.
Huh. Well, that's too bad.
They're working 10 hours a day now to get all they can out before they shut them off.
Well, I've gone through my list, Shirt. I guess it's time to put them on the map.
Yeah, well, yeah, I can show you where all the old mills was, like the Rube Rodenbaum Mill and the Brown Mill, and there are two Brown mills. Rube Rodenbaum had a mill up there in Mountain Creek right next to Audubon property on the old Folsom place. And down on the Raymond Ranch, there was the first mill there, the Preacher Brownie boys had it. And then you go down Mountain Creek a little ways and then up off to your right. Then this other Brown had there. His boys went to high school at the same time I did in Mitchell in the 30s. Then on down below was old, where Ed Pooh had it before he went in there. There was, well, Hudspeth had the mill there at Camp Watts. We fell timber for them there too. At that time, they logged, they were 16-foot logs, and they never scaled them out in the woods. You just, they had about 3 or 4 sets of cutting for them there with a crosscut. We cut with a crosscut, and you'd chop, when you cut a log off, you'd chop a niche. If you'd number 1, you'd put 1 niche in, and if you had number 2, you'd put 2 niches in it. And then they went up the ramp, they're supposed to scale them for you.
Did they?
Not very good.
You don't know.
No.
Now, what kind of an operation did Hudspeth set up there at Camp Watts?
They had a pretty good mill. I don't think it was a band mill. I don't remember. I never paid much attention to the mill, but it was a good mill. They cut quite a bit of scale there, I know that.
What year did you start falling for him?
About the mid-30s, about 36 along there somewhere. Just before I come over here. I come over here in 38,
When did you start working in the woods?
1930.
How
I was about
were-
15.
15? You've been at it a while.
Yep, that's about all I've ever done, you know.
Oh, you've done a lot of rock?
Oh, yeah, I did a rock digging. Yeah, we worked for old Mac Nichols up there and had that, when Rube Roldman had that circle mill up there, and like I say, I worked for Mac, and he didn't have any money, so I'd worked on it quite a while, and then he gave me a cow, and then he gave me some chicken, and he gave me some pigs, and I kept folksing all the chicken and pork and beef they wanted, and we give the Mitchell, and all the folks did. See, my granddad used to own that big ranch out of Mitchell, they call it the Dollar Hide Place.
Oh, really?
My granddad's old place, he bought that in 1907.